Hi David, Courtney again. We're going to go through some of the changes we have to the home page and the about page, and then show you the full building blocks that we have right now. I want to go over these pages again so that we can talk about what has changed and what hasn't changed. We definitely, wanted to acknowledge all of the edits that you had, and then go through and then kind of talk you through all of this. So Kirsten and I had a good conversation about all of it today. So first off, we have this navigation here. This is one of the changes you'll see throughout the site. Rather than being on the left-hand side, it's going to be on the top. So you're going to be, eliminating, a certain type of element that was kind of enhancing that blockiness as before. I didn't want to change this hero image area right here. It seemed to be a piece that you really liked. It's definitely something that I feel adds a good tone to the site. So this was the one that I wanted to make a compromise on and keep that one there. So in this section here, this blue section, our core values, before we had a 50% of the size big square photo. Now it's circular, so it's going to start adding some of these soft edges. This kind of lighter border will as well. Still holding that full width color block just so you can get a nice kind of digestible block out of all of the rest of the content. And then moving forward, we took the big matte block out of there. If we didn't have it as a full width element, then it not necessary to the page, I would think. So we took that out. So yeah, not a ton going on the home page, so not a ton of changes made, but we think that this definitely softens it. Chris and I were talking about, there are definitely a lot of trends that we're seeing now in web design where they have the full width elements. There's a lot of 90-degree angles, squares, things of that nature. We don't necessarily think that it's a trend so much as it's just the direction that web design has been going in. It's easy, seamless, very clean. It really lends itself well to being responsive, and when you have those full width banners, it really appeals to any kind of screen. So whether it's mobile all the way up to this big iMac that we're on here. So moving on to the next page that you've already seen, but we've made some changes. This is the About B page. So before, we had a full width image running along the top of B, and then the side panel here for the navigation, and then kind of breaking the rest of the content down, bits of it being in squares, but it was mostly content. So we changed this image. It's now an in-page image. You have the option of doing a gallery here, so as long as all of the images are this orientation, then they will stay in this and scroll through. This portion has stayed the same, and then this full width bold statement. We usually like to have something that spans the full width of the page so that you can emphasize what that statement is saying. And again, not much else has changed, just simple text. So here's the building blocks page. This is going to have every element that we would recommend as kind of your toolkit. So this is, a series of elements that you can drag and drop and create new pages. We will, organize a few of them into different categories and create page templates. So for instance, this About B page, you'll see all of these elements broken down individually into the building blocks page so that you can use them one by one. But we'll also save this entire page as a template so that if, say, the foundation goals page is essentially the same type of information, you can just say, I want to add this template, and then you'll get everything and just replace the photos, replace the text. Simple as that. So going through the building blocks, this first element would be, just a full width image. Not so much focusing on the image on this one, since you have the text here, a button, this could really go anywhere within a page. Oops. We have our mission. You'll remember this from the home page. We have this nice little number fact area. This is a auto load, so let's see what that looks like. So when you scroll down the page, it will start adding your numbers here. This is usually something we like to have on a nonprofit page. It can kind of up the engagement with, actual data on who you guys have helped, how many people, what you've done, things like that. And then, with this softer blue and an in-page square, you're going to start getting some diversity in the type of shapes. So we have the full width, we have no container, and then we have an inline container. And we're trying to, strike that balance throughout the entire page. So you'll see this is your very simple content blocks like we had on B's page. We have this full width text grid with a circular photo, as you saw on the home page. Text grid, inline image, and here's some new elements that you haven't seen before. Here's your news section. If you have news, it can also be blog posts, pretty much whatever you would want, or you don't have to use it at all. We have the bold statement, another type of events page or events block, contact section. And then this section here would be like a call to action. You may or may not actually use it in this capacity, where it's actually saying like, this is stuff for an event. But I think that it definitely would be a good tool for a simple, 3-column element. So all in all, we only have 4 full width elements, mixing that in with, I think a dozen or more total elements. So I feel like we're getting a really good balance of full width, no container, inline container, things like that. So let me know where you are standing on that, if you think that it's still a little too boxy, and then we can talk about where we will go from there. And I will finish this up in the Basecamp e-ball. Thank you. Bye.